It's 7 o'clock by the,
Progress.
according to, then recording in progress, that means we can start. It's 7 o'clock. Welcome to the October General Forum. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Binkley will call the roll.
Welcome. Marshall.
Can you hear us, Peter?
He's listening to the radio.
Bernier.
Here.
Best.
Here.
Fragola.
Here.
Frank.
Here.
Strainer.
Here.
Gracie Griffin.
Here.
Heller. Stevens.
Here.
Graham.
Here.
Hammeister.
Here.
Hardin.
Here.
Lord.
Here.
Wilson.
Here.
Abrams.
He's here. We see him.
Elliott.
Elliot, can you hear us? The second one, CA2, on the referral of the COG summary budget, because I expect there will be people requesting to discuss that.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I'd like to pull CA3, the budget amendment for consulting services for the COG finance director from the budget, or from the consent agenda.
Okay, that
For
leaves
discussion.
only the approval of the minutes. Is there a motion? Okay, and a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, in order, we will go with CA2, which is the referral of the COG summary budget to center region municipalities. I'm just going to ask for any discussion of this item.
I think it's important at least to acknowledge the budget, the size of the budget. Personally, I think it's a very large budget, excuse me.
So that might be a reason that some of you may wish to comment on it before because this is just a vote to deliver it to the municipalities and for us to discuss it individually. Yes, Mr. Trevino.
A provisional number for the increase in municipal contributions over the current budget. And I've heard within a few minutes ago, there's now a pretty solid number. So the individual municipalities will have the opportunity to discuss the summary budget thoroughly at their next scheduled municipal board meetings or council meetings. But I think the public should know, including general forum members here, to the COG 2024 budget over the amount that the year before, we approved a 6.78% increase in municipal contributions for the 2023 budget over 2022. So this year, for a number of reasons, the request for municipal share increase is substantially higher.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
If I may. I just wanted to point out from a municipal perspective, from our perspective, when I look at our budget, our own budget development, we're in the first stage of that. We completed a draft preliminary budget. The COG fee that we're projecting based on the numbers that we've received is up from this current year by 23%. So obviously there are application disparities depending on the level of involvement in the process in the COG. But I think the number is this year it's 102,000, next year it's 126,000. And that's without changing reducing any services without making any changes to the number of agencies we participate in. It's just a one-for-one comparison this year versus next year. So for us, it's a 23% change. So I just wanted to point that out. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Any other comments? I can point out that, yes, oh, sorry, Mr. Frank.
I just for, I'm not sure where the numbers, I don't want to argue numbers for sure, but what the last thing I saw actually had Half Moon for 2023 at 153,000, and for 2024 dropping to just under 120,000. So it's actually a reduction of 22%, based on what we saw at the last meeting.
In our budget, Ron, that was just a placeholder that Brett put in. He said he needed these numbers out of this budget.
But it's based on the request. the ask.
And the big
That was
things,
just a-
the big things
One at a time,
impacting
please.
your budget are the library, and then the reduction in local planning.
Correct. And what I was talking about in terms of numbers was an apples to apples comparison with the agencies we participate in, not,
Okay.
not with the changes that are going to occur next year. Honestly, it's a little complicated, but, and the difference was, and
Sure.
it's a positive 23%. So, because you're right, prior to us getting out of the library contract, it was 156, 157,000. What I'm saying, the net after that is 102, and then this year is 126 for those same services, assuming we're already out of the contract.
But again, I don't think this is the place to
No,
to review numbers.
and I'm
but
just concerned about the
Sure.
increase, is really what I'm saying.
It should be applicable to the overall, most of your funds are subject to the COG formula, is that correct? So it would be pretty comparative to the overall increase, so, which is good.
It's more a
College
question.
Township's going in the other direction. There you are, Mr. Brown.
It's more a question than a statement.
I should say that there have been years, and this was a while ago that I remember this, that we have had to increase our millage rate largely in part because of a COG increase. So that has happened on at least one occasion, but I don't know whether, it's too early to say whether that will happen on this occasion. Other comments? Okay. Basically, there's an item there, a motion. Does anyone wish to make it? Mr. Graham?
I'll make the motion that we forward this on to municipalities, review and return back to what date?
Feedback by November 16th is noted in the...
Is there some explanation we should have, Mr. Nuremberg?
Sure, I can go over this really quick. The last spring, late last winter, early spring, our previous finance director resigned and gave us a several-week notice, and during that time, we overlap similarly a couple of weeks with the incomings from the vacancy of the outgoing finance director. We had some other savings. We have another vacant position through the end of the year. So we used vacancy savings to offset some of the costs associated with the interim finance director, who is here only 3 days a week. But the bottom line was we ended up with approximately $55,988 shortfall in the administration budget, and so the budget adjustment to correct that as part of preparing for the end of the year would be to transfer money from other funds into the agency or the administration budget. And so the recommendation from the finance committee is to transfer from regional planning and emergency management, similar to split that amount, $27,994 each. And that way, we are using funds that are available in fund balance for those two programs. And the formula, the COG formula that was alluded to earlier, It's the same for all three, the emergency management, the administration, and the regional planning. So we're hitting each of the municipalities in a similar way to their COG formula, and that seemed the simplest way to go. We had previously updated the finance committee during the summer that this was forthcoming, and so the opportunity at their meeting this month was the first opportunity to share this with them and get the recommendation to forward to the general forum. So I'd be happy to answer any questions, or the chair of the finance committee is here as well if there are any.
Mr.
I
Piper.
have a question. Why these two particular items? Why do we pull money out of these two items instead of elsewhere?
Because these are the two funds that have the same funding formula. If we were to look at, say, Parks and Recreation or Fire, those funding formulas would not be utilizing the same COG formula methodology, and thus it would not be spread across municipalities the same way the administration budget is. Plus, both of those funds had vacancy savings during the course of the year with a vacant position, so that there was available fund balance. So it would not need a supplemental appropriation, which we'd have to bill separately to the municipalities.
Sounds like
To be pulled off the consent agenda. My concern is with regard to the Center Region Planning Agency and their capabilities their ability to hire people, compensation program, using insurance reserves to compensate for the. My concern is with regard to the Center Region Planning Agency and their needs. That happens to be, and that and emergency management are the two things that COG provides for us, and regional planning as well as local planning. So I'm concerned about their funding that they would have available to do what they need to do, which is to hire people, because that is a valuable service within the COG. I mean, I think for us, it is the primary service that we receive from the COG. So that's why I brought it up. I brought it up in I think, the Finance and Executive Committee meetings as well. I understand that the explanation, there's different pools of money, but I am concerned about how that impacts the Center Region Planning Agency, and that's why I brought it up. Thank you.
Other questions or comments?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I just wanted to add something that, we are reducing our percentage of use in local planning. I know other municipalities are as well. Some are pulling out of local planning completely in 2025. And that is a further impact to that same department, or that agency's budget. So that concerns me as well. Their ability to provide credits and reduce services. And I'm not sure that that's not a perfect storm for something worse to happen. So that's why I wanted to mention it. I am genuinely concerned about the CRPA's ability to do what they do, and they've done a great job for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have any comments about this? Anyone online? Okay. There is a motion there. Does someone wish to make it?
We have to pay it. Somewhere along the line, we got to
Was
pay
the,
it.
does anyone wish to make the motion?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve
Funding the $55,988 shortfall in the admin.
Second.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes. Okay, the following is an easy item. There is a resolution in the packet. I will not read all of it. I'm sure that, but I will read one paragraph. This is about Jim May. He began his tenure with our planning agency on June 15th of 2009. And under his leadership, an extensive update of the Center Region Comprehensive Plan for their 6 Center Region municipalities. And I hereby we have this wonderful not. I will hear a motion.
Yes, I'll move that the general forum, as recommended by the executive committee, approve resolution 23-2, a resolution of appreciation for Jim May, CRPA Director, on his leadership to the COG in the Center Region Planning Agency in the Center Region after more than 14 years of service.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously, and we are very, very thankful to Mr. May for his 14 years of excellent service to this to the COG, and we wish him very, very well in his retirement.
Last month, we did have a controversial speaker on campus last week. I think actually 2 weeks ago, I think we managed it relatively well. We have another controversial speaker on campus this evening. We will be announcing our next Director of Local Government and Community Relations next week. So I will be sure that every member of COG receives that Penn State news story when we announce it. And we will begin setting up meetings for him to meet with individual members, township and borough managers, and others in the community, and looking forward to introducing him around. His start date again will be November 8th. And then finally, I just wanted to mention that the university is continuing its strategic planning process. Last week we announced that the next phase of our strategic planning process will continue with a comprehensive phase beginning this fall. And I thought it would just be useful to share with COG the main pillars of President Bendapudi's goals, which will form the kind of pillars of our next 5-year strategic plan. And those pillars are enhancing student success, growing interdisciplinary research excellence, increasing our land grant impact, fostering diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, transforming Penn State's internal operations, and the president has added a 6th goal related to transforming health through academic and clinical synergy. And so we'll be engaging in that process.
I think he just got frozen.
Now, last week, and look forward to getting into that process.
Okay.
That pretty much concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Any questions of Mr. Moore? Thank you. We will look forward to meeting the new liaison to the local governments. St. College Area School District, Ms. Brandt.
Yes, hello. It is nice to be here this evening with you all. We try to make it so that our meetings are not on COG meetings, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So tonight it works, so I'm happy to be here. Basically, our updates have to do with facilities in the school district, and we're undergoing very shortly a district-wide facilities master plan, and we really are doing that because we want to tackle Park Forest Middle School, and that
percent complete. The devil's in the details. Now we're trying to wrap up the contracts, punch lists, walkthroughs, all that happy stuff. Made good progress. We had the final electric inspection of the maintenance building and the restroom building, a couple more there, and then the big ticket will be finalizing the land development plan with Ferguson Township. Any questions, sir?
Yes, any questions? Go ahead, Mr.
When do you
Zabel.
think is it open, available now, or how does that work?
Is Christy, I don't know. Yep, there you go. Is the park open? The park is not open, but I'd let you.
It's currently closed with construction signs at the entrance.
When do you expect that target date?
I'll come.
Yeah.
Go ahead and use the mic. We need you to use the microphone.
Safe and ready to be open to the public. So once those items get fixed, we're hoping November that we have a couple parts and pieces getting fixed. It wouldn't potentially be until sometime in the spring of next year, pending good weather and things like that. So right now, we're not intending to open it up just yet until we get to a point where we feel everything's safe.
Okay, thank you.
And beyond that, we have to get our occupancy permit from code, and as well as which includes a sign off by Ferguson Township.
Thank you.
Okay. Any questions about that? Okay. Moving on, Executive Director Report, Mr. Norenberg.
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to note the October activity report is in the packet, and we'd be happy to answer any questions that anyone might have about the items included in that. And if not, we can ask Christy to come back up and share some good news. So are there any questions on the activity report?
Seeing none, go ahead, Christy.
So every now and again, we get an opportunity to acknowledge the hard work that our staff do to put into our facilities and our programming aspects. And so this is one of two meetings where I'll be introducing to you some grant opportunities that our staff took advantage of and were able to receive some additional funding to support our programs. One of them this evening that we're acknowledging is the Millbrook Marsh Nature Center. They received a $20,000 grant through Millipore Sigma, and it's to support the guided program scholarships and the Marshology program. I'm going to let Melissa talk a little bit about the impact of that program.
Good evening. Guided programs connect students to nature through experiential learning, and the scholarship program provides opportunity for students who may not be able to attend these programs due to financial hardship. And in this year, nearly $11,000 in scholarships were awarded for students to participate in programs at the marsh and along the boardwalk. And that number of students was 1,370, to just share that. The Marshology program series is designed for homeschool students ages 8 through 15 to focus on experiments and participate in exploration, demos, and science-based games through learning about the life sciences, physical sciences, and earth sciences, and really to spark their interests in the sciences in general. And with this with this grant award, students will be able to 20 participants, thanks to these fundings supporting 100% of the program costs. And so we really thank Millipore Sigma for their ongoing support. This is the 4th consecutive year that we've received funding through them, and so it's really great support for the Nature Center